students. So, this is our second lecture of the subject digital system design, and today's topic is binary codes. So, these are the contents of today's lecture. So, we will be covering weighted and non-weighted codes, under which we will be covering BCD codes, access tree codes and gray codes, and then we will be studying a special code which is used for error detection and correction, which is named as Hamming code. So, let us start with the contents of today's lecture. So, weighted and non-weighted codes. So, in our previous lecture we have covered the number system based codes, in which we had covered decimal, octal and hexadecimal. All those number systems were having a specific base. Base means they were associated with some radix. That means the number of symbols offered by a number system is known as the base. But in this case, all these codes are belonging to a single category of binary codes. That means we will only be having 1 and zeros, but these 1 and zeros will be having some pattern in which these are obtained from binary. So, broadly classifying the binary codes, there are two categories: weighted binary codes and non-weighted binary codes. And for weighted binary codes, as the definition suggests, each position of a number represents a specific weight. The bits are multiplied by the weights indicated, and the sum of these weighted bits give the equivalent decimal digit. That means, if a binary code is weighted, then multiplying those bits by their corresponding weights should give me, and adding those multiplication results should give me the decimal number. So, this is weighted code, and the examples are 8, 4, 2, 1 and 8, 4, minus 2, minus 1. These 8, 4, 2 and 1 and 8, 4, minus 2 and minus 1, all these are weights. For example, if you want to write 9, and this 9 is in decimal. Now, if I want to write this 9 in 8421 code, first one, so I can check that if I use 8 and if I use 1, then 8 plus 1 becomes 9. So, I will not be using 4 and 2. So, this 9 in 8421 code will become 1, 0, 0 and 1. Okay. So, this is my 8421 representation of 9. Similarly, if I want to write this 9 in 84 minus 2 minus 1, so I can check that 8 plus 4 12 minus 2 and minus 1, that means 12 minus 3 gives me 9. So, the 9 will be represented as 1111 in 8 4 minus 2 minus 1 code. So, in this way we can represent a single decimal number in multiple forms by using different weighted codes. Similarly, when we come to the category of this second one, non-weighted binary codes. So, in these codes are not positionally weighted, that means there is no specific weight associated with the bit position. So, this means that each position with binary number is not assigned a fixed value. For example, we are having these access tree codes and gray code. Now, we will be covering these codes one by one in order of weighted and non-weighted sequence. So, first we will be covering this 8421 code. So, this is the 8421 code, which is also known by the name BCD code. The BCD stands for binary coded decimal. Binary coded decimal. By binary coded decimal means it is very simple to obtain. If I code each decimal digit in 4-bit binary representation, I will be getting the BCD number. So, this is the conversion rule. This is the third point. It is stated that conversion is simply replace the decimal digit by 4-bit binary equivalent. That means, and to replace a decimal digit by 4-bit binary equivalent, I will be requiring 4 weights. So, these 4 weights are 8, 4, 2 and 1. Okay. And the key thing which we need to remember while obtaining this BCD code is this thing, that is BCD can only be obtained from decimal. So, if you are provided an octal number and you are asked to obtain the BCD code for that, it cannot be obtained directly. First, that octal number has to be converted into decimal, and then that decimal number can be converted into this BCD code, because octal and decimal looks similar in structure, because both are having the same set of symbols. It is just the case that decimal is giving me 2 extra symbols as 8 and 9, and octal is giving me 0 to 7. So, any number written in octal may give an impression that it is a decimal number. So, this might be confusion while converting an octal number into BCD, because we might perform that conversion straight away. but that octal number has to be converted into decimal first before going to the BCD thing. So, let us suppose we are provided with the number 126.9 in decimal and we have to write the BCD for this. So, the rule position says that replace each decimal digit by 4-bit binary equivalent. So, this 1 when written in 4 bits will be 0001, and then this 2 when written in 4 bits will be 0010, then 6 will be 0110, and the last one 9 will be 1001. So, this becomes my BCD equivalent of 126.9. Okay. These 3 bits, these 3 zeros are redundant and may be removed, but can be retained as well, it will not affect my answer. So, these are redundant and may be removed. Okay. So, what is the range of now what is the range of valid BCD? As we can see that the decimal is from 0 to 9. Okay. So, when we convert this 0 to 9 by replacing 0 to 9 by the 4-bit binary equivalents, my range should be 0000 to 1001, but as we can see that using this 8421, using these 4 weights, the maximum number that can be obtained is 8 plus 4 plus 2 plus 1, that means 15. But I am only interested in values from 0 to 9, that means the range 10 to 15, this is the range in which I am not interested. This 10 will be represented by 1010 to 15 will be represented by 111 and 1. So, this 10 to 15 becomes my invalid BCD. Okay. So, this is all about BCD. It is very simple to obtain from decimal numbers. Now, coming to the second category of weighted codes, non-weighted code. This is a non-weighted code, accessory code. It can only be obtained from BCD, but BCD can be obtained from decimal. So, that is why it is written that it can be obtained from BCD or decimal. So, there are 2 ways when we proceed from decimal to BCD. As the name suggests, accessory, we have to add 3 to that number, whether we are taking into consideration the decimal number or whether we are taking into consideration the BCD number. So, when I am taking into consideration the decimal number, I will be adding 3, and when I am taking into consideration the BCD equivalent, then I will be adding binary equivalent of 3, that means this 0011. In both the cases, the actual action performed is exactly same, 3 or 0011 are exactly same, but their representation is different. So, if I am provided with a number 53, that is in decimal, and if I am asked to obtain the accessory equivalent of this number. So, there are 2 ways to proceed. Either I can add 3 to both the digits. So, 3 plus 3 becomes 6 and 5 plus 3 becomes 8. Now, this becomes 86, and now I can replace this 8 and 6 individually by their 4-bit binary equivalents. So, this 8 can be replaced as 1000 using that 8421 method, and this 6 can be replaced by 0110 again by using that 8421 method. So, this is the binary equivalent of this. So, this is the accessory equivalent of this number 53, and if I had chosen to convert this accessory from BCD, so that 53 should have been first written into binary, that means 53 should have been written something like this. So, 53 for 5 I will be writing 0101, this is my 5, and for 3 0011, and similarly if I add 3 to both these numbers. Now, instead of adding decimal 3, I am adding binary 3 to these BCD equivalents. So, 1 plus 1 becomes 0, carry 1, 1 plus 1 plus 1 becomes 1 with carry 1, 1, 0, 1 plus 1 0, carry 1, 1 plus 1 0, carry 1, 1 plus 1 0, carry 1, 1 plus 0 plus 0 1. So, you can check that you are getting the same number, either I proceed from decimal or from BCD. Okay. So, just like in BCD, we had mentioned the range of a BCD number as 0 to 9. Similarly, for excess-free, that range can be defined as the minimum excess-free number will be obtained from 0 by adding 3 to it. That means, the minimum excess-free number is having the size 3 and the maximum number in decimal that is there is 9. So, adding 3 to 9 becomes 12. That means, the maximum excess-free number can be 12. So, this 3 to 12 becomes the range of this excess-free number, which is represented by 0011 to 1100 in binary equivalent. Okay. So, this is all about excess-free codes. Now, proceeding to a very special category of binary codes, which is a gray code. It is a binary code and it can only be obtained from binary. This is the key concept. It cannot be obtained from BCD. It cannot be obtained from excess-free. Although BCD and excess-free look like binary code, they are also in the form of ones and zeros, but this gray code cannot be obtained directly from BCD or excess-free. The number has to be in pure binary form, raw binary form. Okay. So, to convert this binary number into gray number, we have to understand the operation of an XOR gate that we will be covering in the later stages, but for the sake of clarity of this topic, I am just giving you a brief overview of the XOR operation. So, if there are two inputs A and B and Y is the output. So, the XOR operation says that this should be the behavior. That means, 0 0 will produce a 0 at the output, similarly 1 1 will produce 0 at the output. This Y is equal to A XOR B. Okay. But the only two cases for which I am obtaining a high output, that is one output, is 0 1 or 1 0. So, I just need to remember this XOR operation, how this XOR operation is performed to convert a binary number into gray number. And there are two properties of gray codes which are stated here. Gray code is one in which only one bit change is allowed between two successive gray codes. So, we will be getting to this point, and the next one, these are also known as cyclic code. In the next slide, we will be covering these 2 points, why it is called cyclic code and how there is only one bit change allowed between two successive gray numbers. Okay. So, first of all, we are covering the conversion part, how to obtain a gray number from a binary number. So, let us suppose we are provided with this binary number 1100101 and we are supposed to convert this binary number into a gray number. So, the rule position is, I am just writing these bits at some spacing for greater clarity, 1 1 0 0 1 0 1 11 001 01. So, the MSB will be exactly the same. To start with, I have to place MSB which is exactly the same in binary. That means, MSB for binary and gray both are same. And to obtain next bit in gray, I have to perform the XOR operation between the two inputs. Which are these two inputs? So, if I perform the XOR of these two, 1 and 1. So, from this table of XOR gate, I can see that 1 and 1 will give me 0 output from an XOR gate. So, this 1 and 1 will give me a 0. Similarly, this 1 and 0 will give me a 1, 0 0 will give me 0, 0 1 will give me 1, 1 0 will give me 1, 0 1 will also give me a 1. So, this is the gray equivalent of this binary number, and it would have been no different if there would have been a decimal place here. So, at the same position I would have placed a decimal, a fractional point. Okay. So, there is no special rule for fractional binary numbers to be converted into gray. Okay. So, in this way we can convert a binary number into gray, and similarly to get back into binary from gray, I again need to perform XOR operation, but this time the XOR between the entities, these entities are different now. The things between which this XOR operation is to be performed are different. How it is different? Let us take an example for this. As you can see that I have taken the same number which I have obtained in gray. This is the same number 101 0111 101 0111. So, again I am writing this number at some spacing and now converting this number into binary. The rule position is again the same, first rule position, that MSB for both numbers will be same. So, 1 and 1 are same, and now we have to perform XOR of these two. the fresh gray bit and the next binary bit. So, 1 and 0 will produce 1. Similarly, this 1 and 1 will produce a 0, 0 and 0 will produce a 1, 1 1 will produce a 0, 1 and 0 will produce a 1, and 1 and 1 you can check that 1 1 0 0 1 0, actually there is some issue 0 0 I am getting 0, this should have been 0, 1 1 0 0. So, 0 and 0 should be giving me 0, now 1 0 should be giving me 1 and 1 1 will be giving me 0, and this 1 and 0 will be giving me 1. So, this is my binary equivalent of this gray number. Okay. As we can check that we are getting that same binary number from that gray number. Okay. So, let us proceed further. In this way we can convert a binary number into a gray number. So, now coming to the cyclic nature of the gray codes. Why they are code cyclic, and before going to that cyclic nature we should be first looking into consideration that how there is only one bit change between the gray numbers. So, I have written consecutive numbers from 0 to 7 in decimal. These 0 to 7 are written in binary in this form by using these 3 weights 1, 2 and 4. So, in gray, how to obtain these gray? By using that same rules, that you can check that any case, let us suppose we are taking this case of 4, I am taking this case of 4. So, this 1 is same here, 1 is same, that means MSB is same for both binary and gray, and this 1 and 0, okay, 1 and 0, XOR of 1 and 0 is 1, and this XOR of 0 and 0 is 0. Okay. So, in this way, using the same set of rules which we have used in the previous slide are used to obtain gray from that binary number. Okay. So, in this way I have written gray from 0 to 7. Now, between any two successive gray numbers, you can check these two gray numbers. These two gray numbers are only different at this one position only, and this position is exactly same, this position is exactly same. Similarly, you can check any other successive gray numbers, you can check these two are different at this position 0 and 1, this 1 and 1 are same, this 1 and 1 are same. So, this justifies the point that between two successive gray numbers only one bit change is allowed. And why these is known as cyclic codes? Because you can check that this change in single bit, this property is also valid between the first and the last gray number. This one bit change property is not holding just between any two successive gray numbers, but it is also holding between the first and the last gray member. As you can see that there is a 000 and here there is 100. That means these two positions are different, and this 00 are same, this 00 is same. So, this one bit property, one bit change property is also holding between the first and the last gray member. That is why they are known as cyclic codes. Okay. So, now coming to the special category of codes which are being used for error detection and correction. These error detection and correction code, there are multiple codes in this category, but the simplest one and which is being in our syllabus is this Hamming code. So, what is this Hamming code? How this Hamming code is obtained? How this performs error detection and correction? First of all, we need to understand the need of error detection and correction. So, whenever we are transmitting bits in form, that means we are transmitting data in form of ones and zeros. So, in systems where some critical decisions are to be taken based on the received signal, if 1 is received, then we have to lights have to be turned on, and somehow if that 1 is replaced by 0 due to some atmospheric noise or something else, if I am transmitting that data wirelessly, so entire operation might go in disarray. So, to avoid such circumstances, we will be using this Hamming code for error detection and correction. It will be imparting some additional information in my message, so that if errors are there, they might be corrected at the receiver end. Okay. So, it uses the concept of additional parity bits. That means, there will be some extra parity bits that will be added to the original message. So, let us straight away jump to our question. Let us suppose we are provided with this message 1101001. So, if I am provided with this message and if I am asked to prepare the Hamming code for this message, first of all I have to check how many bits are there. So, I can check that the number of bits present in this Hamming code is 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So, there are 7 message bits. So, how many extra parity bits are to be added? Is it random 1, 2, 3 or is there any formula? So, there is a formula for this. 2 raised to power p should be greater than or equal to m plus p plus 1. So, in this I can check that 7, if I replace m by 7, this formula changes to 2 raised to power p should be greater than or equal to, if m is replaced by 7, then this formula becomes p plus 8. Okay. So, find the minimum value for which, using this formula we have to find the minimum value of p for which this relation is satisfied. So, we start putting p is equal to 0, we find that relation is not satisfied, p is equal to 1, this relation is not satisfied. Similarly, if we continue further, then we check that this relation is satisfied for p is equal to 4. So, 2 raised to power 4, that means 2 raised to power 4 greater than or equal to p plus 4, that means 16 is greater than 12, which is satisfying my relation. So, I take the value of additional parity bits as 4, that means 4 extra parity bits will be added. So, there were 7 message bits, now there are 4 extra bits. So, this 7 plus 4 becomes 11, that means my Hamming code will be having 11 bits. Okay. So, step 2 is finding the location of these parity bits. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 up to 11 I have marked. So, the 2 raised to power nth positions, that means 2 raised to power 0, 2 raised to power 1 and so on, these will be the location of my parity bits. That means 2 raised to power 0 is 1, 2 raised to power 1 is 2, 2 raised to power 2 is 4, 2 raised to power 3 is 8. So, at these 4 locations my parity bits will be added and this becomes the structure of the Hamming code. So, these 5 bits 3, 5, 6, 7, these are fed from the previous data 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1. You can see that 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1. So, this is the message which was provided to me and I have introduced 4 extra bits which are the parity bits. Now, the last step is to obtain the value of these parity bits. So, finding the value of these parity bits, we will be using this method to find the value of these parity bits. So, to obtain the value of these parity bits, I have to get back to the question provided by the examiner. Their examiner must have mentioned that prepare Hamming code using even parity or prepare Hamming code using odd parity. Okay. But if examiner has not mentioned to find the Hamming code using even parity or odd parity, then we can assume even parity as default parity. Okay. So, the parity means the number of ones present in a message. So, if this is the message 1101, there are 3 ones. So, 3 ones means these are odd, that means this message has odd parity. Okay. This is the simple concept of parity. The number of ones present in a message is the parity of that message, that means it is giving me even number of ones or odd number of ones. If the number of ones are even, then the message has even parity. If the number of ones in a message are odd, then the message has odd parity. So, I have to prepare this Hamming code using even parity. It is being provided to me by the examiner. So, 1 to 11 is the sequence, this 1 to 11 is being written in decimal, this 1 to 11 is being written in binary. The first step is to prepare this decimal binary table up till the number of values, number of positions which I have considered in the structure of Hamming code. So, I have reached 11. So, I have prepared this code. Now, assuming even parity, I will be checking this column. If I check this column for P1, this column for P2, this column for P3, this column for P4, I can check that P1 is having 1 at these positions 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 and 11. So, I have mentioned 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. Similarly, for this column you can check 2, 3, 6, 7, 10, 11. Similarly, for this column you can check these 4 values, these are 4, 5, 6, 7 and similarly here 8, 9, 10, 11, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. Now, how to find the value of these bits? I will be checking these bit positions in my Hamming code structure 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. So, 1 I am not aware 1 is having P1, but I can check the rest of the values 3 is giving me 1, sorry 3 is giving me 1, 5 is giving me 1, 7 is giving me 1, 9 is giving me 0, 11 is giving me 1. So, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, there are 4 ones, 4 is even, that means it is already even, that means there is no need to add anything. So, I get a 0 because the message is already even. If I add extra 1, then it will become odd. Similarly, I can check the value of these bits to find the value of P 2. You can check it, 3 is having 1, 6 is having 0, 7 is having 0, 10 is having 0, 11 is having 1. So, there are 3 ones, 3 is odd and I need to make it even. So, I add extra 1 here. Similarly, I can obtain the value of P 3 and P 4, and if I replace these 4 values in this Hamming code structure, I get the value as this one. So, in this way we can prepare Hamming code for any given message using even parity or odd parity. If examiner would have mentioned to calculate these, prepare this Hamming code using odd parity, then in that case these values would have been complemented as 1 0 1 0. I would have got complemented values. Okay. So, in this way we can prepare the Hamming code. Okay. Now, coming to the error detection and correction part, which is most important thing. So, let us suppose this is the received code, and if I am receiver has received this receiver has to check on its own whether this message is having any error or not. If there is error, then it has to correct it. So, this Hamming code can detect 2 errors and correct 1 error. Okay. So, these are the message which are being, this is the message which is being placed in this structure, and the receiver now again rechecks these parities at these positions which were being used at the transmitter end. So, the same set of combination 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 and 11 is again checked. 1 is giving me 0, 3 is giving me 1, 5 is giving me 1, 7 is giving me 0, 9 is giving me 0, 11 is giving me 1. That means, there are 3 ones, 3 means it is odd, but the message was prepared using even parity. So, there is a conflict, yes there is a conflict, and this yes is replaced by 1. Okay. Similarly, checking the other combination 2, 3, 6, 7, 10, 11, 2 is giving me 1, 2 is giving me 1, 3 is giving me 1, 6 is giving me 0, 7 is giving me 0, 10 is giving me 0, 11 is giving me 1. Again if I check, there are 3 ones, 3 is again odd, message was prepared using even parity. So, there is a conflict, again conflict is replaced by 1. Similarly, if I check 4, 5, 6, 7, there are 0, 1, 0, 0. So, there is only a single one which is odd, again I am getting the conflict. So, I have replaced by yes by 1, and the last case 8, 9, 10, 11, these 4 values if you check, there are 2 ones, which is even, that means there is no conflict, and this no is replaced by 0. So, arranging these conflicts in the reverse order of the generation, I get 0 1 1 0 1 1, and when this 0 1 1 is converted into decimal, I get 7. So, this shows that there is error in 7th position. So, if I complement this 7th position, that means this 0 is replaced by 1, I get my corrected code. As you can see that I have just replaced this 7th position 1001, 1001, this is replaced by this 1, I have complemented this to get the corrected code. So, in this way Hamming code can be used for error detection and correction. Thank you very much.